mayor of Saratoga Springs, Utah, candidate for Congress. Kristen's got a big crush on Mia Love. Welcome to the show, Mia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, kiddo. First, tell me about Saratoga Springs. I'm not hip to it. Does it have a warm springs there, or what's the deal?
We do. We do have some hot springs there. We were actually, I believe, named after the Saratoga Springs in New York that had some hot springs there, and they adopted that name here, and it fits pretty well. We're a lakeside community, and we've got mountains on the other side, and so it's a great place to live.
No, it sounds beautiful. What's the juice for you about being a politician? Do you dig it? How have you dug being the mayor of Saratoga Springs? I guess you like it. You're moving on to or you want to move to Congress, right?
Well, it's certainly not something that I said I wanted to do. It's always, people are always pulling you into this stuff. It was about a year and a half after I had my daughter. I had some knocks on my doors from my neighbors that said, hey, we need you to run for city council. There are a couple of things that are happening there. We need you to go and fix it. So go run for city council. And it's pretty much the same thing that we've gotten here. We need you to run for Congress. So.
Well, thank you for reminding me why I never answer my front door.
Exactly.
Mia's website is Utah.com. All right, kiddo, tell me a little bit about what makes you tick. What's your belief system? What are you pitching to the masses as you go out and stump?
Well, if you have to understand who I am as a person, my background. I'm a daughter of parents who immigrated to this country legally from Haiti. Mm-hmm. They came with very little money, $10 in their pockets. They pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and worked hard for everything that they had. And my father told me at one point, I took him to college with me on the day of orientation because he's a fun parent. So I took him with me, and he said, Mia, your mother and I have done everything we could to get you here. We worked hard for every penny. You will not be a burden to society. You will give back. And that little voice, stayed in the back of my head. Every time somebody asked me to serve, I thought, you will not be a burden to society. You will give back. And so here I am today.
No, good on you. What's your mom and dad's name, since it sounds like they were a great hatchery for you? What are their names?
Marie and Jean.
Yeah, and James looked you straight in the face and told you that, and you're right. How you ever going to go back against that, Mia, right?
It's one of those times where, most of the things your parents tell you goes in one ear out the other, especially, when you're going into college. It's just one of those times where I said, ooh, he's about to say something serious. I better pay attention.
And when it sticks for good. It's all the way with you into the barn. All right, so then you go to you go to the University of Hartford. You get a degree in fine arts, and you in a bludgeoning business now of politics. How do you straddle that? You must have an artist soul inside of you, and this is the gladiator camp that is politics now.
It's helped me out quite a bit when it comes to my background as in marketing, my work background as in marketing. I marketed the voice IP products for a company called Cento. Mm-hmm. So that's helped me out quite a bit. But, I've always enjoyed music. I know, people who are musicians all over the world. Condoleezza Rice, who is a great, incredible pianist. So she's.
Yeah, I often see, when I see footage of her unwinding at the keys, I think, oh my God, what a great place for her to go at the end of a day that just seems like a world gone mad, and lose yourself in the, the magic that is her music. Now, you're a married woman, Mia?
I am. I'm married with 3 children. I have the most incredible, supportive husband in the world. He's just amazing.
And you do 2 terms on the city council of Saratoga Springs. Mm-hmm. It eventually leads to being mayor. And how is the city done under your tenure? Tell me a little bit about it, where it was when you started and where it's at now.
Well, in 2008, Saratoga Springs was pretty much on the brink of bankruptcy. We had a $3.5 million shortfall, and for a city that's grown 1,700% in less than 10 years, it was a big deal. We went from having no infrastructure, 2 state roads, no police department, to pretty much all of a sudden the housing market crashes because Saratoga Springs was pretty much doing all of its business without any property tax at all, doing all of its business with building permits. So when the housing market crashes, we had nothing. And so we had to roll up our sleeves and find solutions to those problems, and we don't have the option of kicking the can down the road. So we cut spending, and we made sure that our property tax paid for nothing but public safety. Today, Saratoga Springs has the highest bond rating available to it, while Washington was getting a downgrade. We were getting an upgrade, and we are run fiscally well, and we're growing economically, and the city's thriving.
We're talking to Mia Love. She, Saratoga Springs, Utah mayor, now running for Congress. Mia's website is loveforutah.com. Are you currently the mayor, Mia, or is your tenure over?
I'm currently the mayor, yeah.
What do the people say about losing you if you've turned it around there? Are they happy for you?
Well, yes, a lot of them are happy. They're like, if you can do that in Washington, we'd be pleased. But I know there are a lot of people that are saying, well, what are we going to do here? I believe that we've put some good financial policies in place that we'll be able to, Saratoga Springs will be able to move on and just thrive as long as people remember where we came from and not go back and make the same, make some of the mistakes that have been made previous.
Well, kiddo, how'd you go in? How'd you sell a residential tax to them for the first time? I'd love to hear that rap. What approach did you use on that, kiddo?
Again, it's what there is a role that government plays.
Yes.
And the city cannot exist. I mean, according to state law, you can't exist without public safety. It has to happen.
Right.
So at that point, we just said, listen, everything else is going to be self-sustainable. We're going to make sure that our property tax pays for nothing but public safety. Okay. And we set that in place and cut everything else. And with that being said, I mean, we didn't have all of the bells and whistles that everybody else had to maintain. We have a full-blown library today that is not on the backs of the taxpayers, completely done on volunteer efforts. It's just selling a principle.
So you're balancing a checkbook. Taxes. Listen, as it should be. I often think anybody who comes into that house up on in Congress and asks for money should have to go up and sign a big, like you won a golf tournament check at the front of the room, and then fill in the memo section. That would make it a lot more sane. We know you're for fiscal discipline. Let's hit a couple of the other key issues. If you do go back there to D.C., you're going to have to. What's your take on nationalized health care?
Well, I think our health care, it doubles every 4 years. We've got to find a way to make it, to get it to a point where it's sustainable.
Cross state lines, right? Wouldn't that make sense?
I mean, it makes sense to at least allow insurance companies to cross state lines. We have to, I think that we skipped all of these steps, where we've gone straight from having to provide a service and went straight to federal government instead of looking at some of these other steps where we could provide a little bit more for our constituents. Like we can look at the state level and see what we can do there. If you think about the things that are thriving, things like cosmetic surgery, prices are going down, quality is going up, LASIK. But that's because there's a connection between the supply and demand. I'm a free market person. So we've got to be able to look at some of these things and see how we can get it so that it becomes more of a free market.
Mia, we've become one of the big problems for me about the culture. The thing I find the most threatening in the macro, there are micro issues I shake my head at, but the lack of personal responsibility. When you start asking your government to provide for elective surgeries, for God's sakes, and not only do you request it, but you get the money back in the form of a check, we've lost all personal responsibility. That scares the hell out of me.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I believe that we're actually crippling Americans. I mean, look at the website that we've got, the president's website that says, we're supposed to provide for this fictional character, Julia, from cradle to grave. If we're going to do that for everyone, there will never be enough money. There will never be enough money.
Yeah, I look at the Julia and I think, man, if I was a woman, that would piss me off to think that that's what they're thinking of up there, that you crown out of the womb and you get something, and then your death rattle gets subsidized too. I mean, for God's sakes, what happened to the whole "I am woman, hear me roar" thing? They think of him as like Sandra Fluke up there talking about getting her contraception paid for, or her friend's contraception. That's the wheedle she wants to do, and stuff like the Julia character. I just shake my head and I go, I thought libs thought they were strong. Anyway, we got a strong one on the phone here, Mia Love. She's running for the Congress. What's the district, kiddo?
It's the 4th district in Utah. So
all right. Sorry I called you kiddo 3 times, but I'm awkward
fine
with people, and I try and act like we're more convivial than we are. But you seem like a great dame. I wish you luck. And Mia's website is loveforutah.com. And if you get back there, I'm going to come a-calling because I want to taste the soup in the cafeteria.
Please do. Please do. I have a lot of people on this campaign that are so excited about me being on your radio show today. I mean, you've got a lot of fans here. So.
Oh, that's sweet of Mia.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Go get them, kiddo.
I will.
All right. Christian. You got to make a note to me about the kiddo thing. But I'm awkward when she seems so sweet.
I know you are, kiddo. It's all right, champ.
I know, so I try to act endear, but she must be thinking, God, call the Guinness people. We just call he said kiddo more than a goat herder.
We broke your
goat
habit
herder.
of calling
Wait a
people
second.
Scooter.
Can I get kudos? I didn't have that when I started that. He said kiddo more than a goat herder. There's only one. I'm not saying it's great, but it's the only way to pay that off,
good.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Nice snag. Dennis Miller.
The Dennis Miller Show.